History often remembers war in broad strokes, arrows on maps, dates in textbooks, victories reduced to a single sentence. But the true shape of war is carved in moments, sudden, violent, absurd moments when everything hangs on instinct, nerve, and the will of one person standing alone. This is one of those moments. In the frozen winter of 1945, on the edge of a forgotten Belgian village, a single American soldier walked into a situation so unbalanced, so irrational, that no tactical manual could explain what followed. What saved him, and dozens of others, was not firepower, reinforcements, or orders from above. It was composure and, unbelievably, laughter. This is the story of First Sergeant Leonard Funk, a paratrooper who survived chaos in Normandy, defied impossible odds in Holland, and in less than 1 minute turned certain death into legend. January 29, 1945, 2:47 p.m., Holtzheim, Belgium. First Sergeant Leonard Funk steps around the corner of a farmhouse, and the world stops. 90 German soldiers are staring straight at him. Some already have rifles in their hands. Others are grabbing weapons from a pile on the frozen ground. 4 American GIs are kneeling in the snow nearby, disarmed, hands locked behind their heads. 20 minutes earlier, these Germans had been prisoners of war. 80 of them captured during the brutal fight for the village, guarded by just 4 Americans, the only men Company C could spare. Now they are free, armed, and reorganizing to attack from the rear. A German officer pushes forward through the crowd. He jams an MP-40 submachine gun hard into Funk's stomach and starts shouting. The words are German. Funk doesn't understand a single one. Neither do the Americans. The officer screams again, louder. His face flushes red with fury. Funk takes it all in. The ring of enemy soldiers, his captured men, the cold steel pressed into his gut. And then he starts laughing. The officer freezes. Confusion flashes across his face, quickly replaced by rage. He shouts even louder. Funk laughs harder. What happens next unfolds in under a minute. 21 German soldiers will be dead. The rest will drop their weapons and surrender. And Leonard Funk will earn the Medal of Honor for one of the most astonishing acts of close combat in World War II. All because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was born on August 27, 1916. In Braddock Township, Pennsylvania, a steel town clinging to the Monongahela River, 8 miles east of Pittsburgh. Smokestacks and foundries defined the skyline. Hard work defined life. Funk grew up fast. Responsibility found him early. By the time he graduated high school in 1934, he had already spent years helping raise his younger brother. The Great Depression was in its 5th grinding year. Jobs were rare. College was a dream few could afford. In June 1941, with war raging across Europe and Asia, Congress expanded the draft. Funk's number came up. He reported to the induction center in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, 24 years old, 5'5", 140 pounds. The Army examiner likely saw a clerk. He was wrong. Funk volunteered for the paratroopers. In 1941, American airborne forces were barely an idea. Jumping out of aircraft behind enemy lines, surrounded, isolated, sounded like madness. Most soldiers wanted nothing to do with it. The volunteers were different. Airborne training was designed to break men. 5 relentless weeks of running, climbing, jumping, falling. Half the candidates washed out. Then came the towers. Then the planes. The first time a man steps out of a C-47 at 1,200 feet, every instinct screams to grab the door and cling to it. The ground is distant. The wind is violent. All that stands between life and death is fabric, cord, and faith. Funk earned his jump wings. He was assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment at Camp Blanding, Florida. In late 1943, the regiment shipped to England and joined the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-Americans. Veterans of Sicily and Italy. Men who had already killed. Men who had already buried friends. Funk was the newcomer. 27 years old by paratrooper standards. Most of his squad were barely 20, but he brought something they lacked: steadiness, maturity, a quiet confidence that made men trust him. By D-Day, he was a squad leader, soon after, acting company executive officer. First, he had to survive Normandy. June 6, 1944, 1:30 a.m., The C-47 shudders as flak explodes around it. Funk stands in the stick, one of the paratroopers waiting to jump. 60 pounds of gear drags at his body. Thompson's submachine gun, ammunition, grenades, rations, medical kit. The aircraft is flying at only 400 feet, dangerously low, but the pilots can't climb. German anti-aircraft fire fills the sky. Tracers streak past like burning insects. Shrapnel rattles against the fuselage. 13,000 paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne are dropping into France. Their mission: secure bridges, seize crossroads, block German reinforcements from reaching the beaches. Almost nothing goes according to plan. The green light snaps on. Funk jumps. The prop blast slams into him. Then the chute snaps open and the world falls silent. Below lies occupied France, enemy territory in every direction. From the first minutes, the airborne operation dissolves into chaos. German fire scatters formations across 50 miles of countryside. Some paratroopers land in flooded fields and drown under the weight of their gear. Others drop directly into German camps and are killed before they can free themselves. Funk hits the ground hard. His ankle twists violently, badly sprained, possibly broken. The pain is instant and brutal. Every step for the next 2 weeks will be agony, but he can walk, he can fight. That's enough. He buries his parachute and starts moving. He is 40 miles from his drop zone, alone, in the dark. Within hours, he gathers other lost paratroopers, men from different units, companies, regiments. Eventually, 18 of them fall in behind him, instinctively looking for leadership. Funk gives it to them. For 10 days, he leads that improvised unit through German-held territory, moving only at night, hiding by day, fighting when they must. Despite his injury, Funk insists on serving as lead scout, taking the most dangerous position to shield his men. On June 17th, they reach Allied lines. Every man survives, not one casualty. 10 days behind enemy lines, 40 miles through occupied France. Leonard Funk brings them all home. For that, he receives the Silver Star, a Bronze Star, and his first Purple Heart. He is only getting started. September 17th, 1944. Holland. Operation Market Garden, the largest airborne assault in history. 35,000 paratroopers drop into the Netherlands to seize bridges across the Rhine. British, American, and Polish forces jump together. If it works, the Allies will be in Germany by Christmas. Field Marshal Montgomery's plan is bold, maybe too bold. 7 bridges across 64 miles must be taken and held. Ground forces will race up a single highway to reach them. Speed and surprise are everything. Everything goes wrong. British airborne forces land at Arnhem, the farthest objective, and find themselves surrounded by SS Panzer divisions that were never supposed to be there. For 9 days, they fight in the streets. Only 2,000 of 10,000 escape. The bridge too far becomes legend. Funk knows none of that. He knows his mission. After landing, his company secures its objectives. Routine work, until Funk spots something alarming. 3 German 20mm flak guns are firing into the sky at incoming Allied gliders. Those gliders carry men, vehicles, artillery, medical supplies. If the guns keep firing, hundreds will die before ever touching the ground. The position is fortified. High ground, sandbags, camouflage, about 20 German soldiers. Funk has 3 men. Doctrine says an attacker needs 3 times the force of the defender. Funk attacks anyway. Leading from the front, his 4-man patrol storms the position. They wipe out the security detail, overrun the gun pits, and silence all 3 weapons. 20 Germans, 3 Americans. The guns fall silent. The gliders land safely. For this, Funk earns the Distinguished Service Cross, second only to the Medal of Honor. Still, he isn't done. December 16, 1944. Germany launches its final gamble. 3 armies, 400,000 men, tanks, artillery, desperation. They smash into thin American lines in the Ardennes, driving toward Antwerp. It nearly works. The Battle of the Bulge becomes the largest and bloodiest battle the U.S. Army will fight in the war. 89,000 American casualties, brutal cold, snow, ice, men freezing in foxholes, weapons failing. Then comes Malmedy, December 17th. An American convoy runs into an SS battle group. After a brief fight, 113 Americans surrender. They are marched into a field, disarmed. Then the SS opens fire. 84 Americans are murdered, shot as they run, executed where they fall. Some survive by lying motionless in the snow for hours. When word spreads, something changes. The rules of the war vanish. When Leonard Funk hears what happened, something inside him hardens. Normandy, Holland. Too many graves, too much blood. This is different. This is murder. And Funk makes a decision, one that will matter very soon. No matter what happens, he will never surrender. January 29th, 1945. The Ardennes. The German offensive has finally been smashed. The bulge is collapsing, and now the Allies are advancing, step by frozen step, reclaiming ground paid for in blood. Company C of the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment receives its next objective: capture the Belgian village of Holtzheim. There is a problem. Company C is badly under strength. The executive officer, the second in command, is dead. Casualties, exhaustion, and weeks of constant fighting have hollowed the unit out. There are not enough riflemen left for a proper assault. Leonard Funk is now acting executive officer. He studies the roster, sees the numbers, and makes a decision that no manual would recommend. Funk walks over to the company headquarters tent. Inside are clerks, cooks, supply men. Soldiers whose war has been fought with paperwork and crates, not rifles and grenades. "You're infantry now," Funk tells them. "Grab your weapons. We're taking that village." He forms a platoon out of necessity, 30 men who have spent most of the war far from gunfire. They have basic training, yes, but for many of them, this will be the first time they fire at another human being. Funk doesn't hesitate. He doesn't lecture. He needs bodies. He will turn them into soldiers. The march to Holtzheim is 15 miles through waist-deep snow, driven by a blizzard that cuts visibility to almost nothing. Temperatures are well below freezing. German artillery shells burst around them, harassment fire snapping in from the flanks. Funk leads from the front. They reach the village. 15 houses, Germans and everyone. Machine guns, rifles, grenades. Funk organizes the assault, then steps forward with his improvised platoon. The clerks follow him. The cooks follow him. The men who never expected to see combat follow him into the buildings. House by house, they clear the village. 30 Germans surrender. Not one American is killed. Another Allied unit captures 50 more Germans on the far side of town. 80 prisoners in total. They are gathered in the yard of a farmhouse, disarmed and exhausted. Funk surveys his men. They've marched for hours. They've fought through a village. And there is still resistance elsewhere. Scattered Germans who haven't surrendered yet. He can spare only 4 men to guard the prisoners. "Keep them here," Funk tells them. "We'll send reinforcements when we can." Then he turns back toward the fighting, unaware of what is about to unfold behind him. While Funk clears the remaining pockets of resistance, a German patrol approaches the farmhouse. 10, maybe 20 men, wrapped in white camouflage capes. In the snowstorm, they look nearly identical to American troops in winter gear. The guards realize the danger too late. The Germans overwhelm them, disarm them, force them to their knees, and then free the prisoners. 80 captured soldiers, plus the patrol that freed them. 90 Germans. They seize weapons from the pile, organize quickly, and form a plan. Company C is spread across the village. If they attack from the rear, it will be slaughter. A German officer, likely a lieutenant or captain, begins issuing orders. Machine guns here, ambush positions there. Wait for the signal. That is when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. He has come to check on the prisoners. Routine. Make sure the guards are still in place. See if reinforcements arrived. Instead, he walks into a nightmare. His 4 guards are kneeling in the snow. The prisoners, who should be unarmed, are standing everywhere with rifles, preparing to fight. The German officer spots Funk immediately. The sergeant's stripes mark him as leadership, as valuable. The officer strides forward and jams an MP-40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach, shouting in German, "Surrender! Drop your weapon!" Funk doesn't understand a word. The officer shouts again, louder. His face turns red. Veins bulge in his neck. Funk looks around. 90 Germans. 4 disarmed Americans. 1 other U.S. soldier standing beside him. The math is absolute. There is no version of this situation where Leonard Funk survives, unless he surrenders. But Funk remembers Malmedy. 84 Americans executed in a field. Shot down after surrendering. Left to freeze in the snow. He has already made his decision. He will never surrender. So instead, Leonard Funk does something no one expects. He laughs. No one knows exactly why Funk laughed. Maybe it was a tactic. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was the sheer absurdity of an officer screaming orders in a language Funk couldn't understand. Later, Funk would say he tried to stop, but couldn't. Whatever the reason, the effect is immediate and devastating. The German officer screams louder, Funk laughs harder. He bends forward, shoulders shaking, and calls out to his men, "I don't know what he's saying." Some of the Germans start laughing too. The moment turns surreal. Their officer is shaking with rage, and this American refuses to be afraid. For a few precious seconds, the German officer hesitates, and Funk uses them. Still laughing, Funk slowly reaches for the Thompson submachine gun slung over his shoulder. The officer watches closely. This is good. The American is surrendering his weapon. Funk grips the Thompson, unslinging it slowly, carefully. Then, in one explosive motion, he snaps the muzzle up and pulls the trigger. The M1A1 Thompson roars. At point-blank range, the .45 caliber rounds tear into the officer's chest. The burst lasts less than 3 seconds. He is dead before he hits the ground. Funk doesn't stop. He can't. The instant he fired, there was no retreat, only victory or death. He pivots, spraying lead into the nearest Germans. Men scream. Bodies collapse into the snow. Blood stains white ground red. Empty shell casings tumble through the air, steaming in the cold. The magazine runs dry. This is the moment everything hangs. 2 seconds to reload. 2 seconds is an eternity. Funk slams in a fresh magazine, racks the bolt, and keeps firing. One seamless motion born of muscle memory and training. At the same time, he's shouting at his men, "Pick up their weapons! Pick up their weapons!" The 4 guards scramble, grabbing rifles from fallen Germans. Seconds ago, they were prisoners. Now they are soldiers again. The Germans are in chaos. Their officer is dead. The laughing American is killing them. No one is giving orders. Some try to shoot back. A bullet kills the American standing beside Funk. Funk keeps firing. 60 seconds. That's all it takes. 21 Germans are dead. 24 wounded. More than 40 drop their weapons and raise their hands. The prisoners are prisoners again. Leonard Funk stands in the middle of the carnage, smoke curling from his Thompson. That, he tells his men, was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. The aftermath is almost quiet. Holtzheim is secured. The surviving prisoners are marched to the rear, under much heavier guard this time. Funk reports the incident. Just another fight. Just another day. But the story spreads. Through the regiment. Through the division. Through the entire 82nd Airborne. The sergeant who laughed at 90 Germans. The Medal of Honor recommendation meets no resistance. On September 5, 1945, at the White House, President Harry Truman places the medal around Leonard Funk's neck. "I would rather have this medal," Truman says, "than be President of the United States. Count what Funk earned. Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star, 3 Purple Hearts, decorations from France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, the most decorated paratrooper of World War II, 5'5", 140 pounds, a former store clerk. After the war, he goes home. No books, no speeches, no fame. He takes a job with the Veterans Administration, helping other soldiers navigate the system. For 27 years, he sits behind a desk and serves quietly. When asked about Holtzheim, he shrugs. "Did what I had to do. That's all." Leonard Funk dies on November 20, 1992, at age 76. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Most people have never heard his name, but his story tells us this. War does not reward size. It does not reward strength. It rewards the man who keeps thinking when everyone else freezes. At Holtzheim, Leonard Funk laughed, and in that moment of confusion, he acted. 60 seconds later, he was alive, and 90 men who expected him to surrender were not.